Alright, what's up E4? Just got another PSA returned in today. This is my $30 submission tier. I sent these off at the same time as the $18 tier, and as many people were pointing out and probably have guessed, like those took longer actually than the $18 tier. PSA was really flying through those $18 specials, and really makes me kind of regret submitting at a higher price tier, especially since I didn't get upcharged for any of my $18 submission. So if you take nothing away from this video, aside from this, I would say just, unless the card is really an expensive card, I'm just going to be submitting through bulk. Basically anything under $1,000 in a 10 that I'm submitting is just going to be going through bulk. If it's, near mint copy is over $1,000, I don't normally deal with those kinds of cards. That's when I'll probably submit at a higher tier. But basically what I've experienced in the modern PSA submitting landscape, there's just not really a reason to think that your $30 or $50 tier submissions are going to return to you any more quickly, or that you're going to receive better service. I think the only thing that I really see that I got is that my insurance for those cards is allowed to be higher. So if something were to go wrong, I could claim the full value. But my cards didn't come back any faster, didn't really get any better service. So what PSA is teaching me is to just go bulk. So I'll definitely be doing that. Starting with the $15 submission tier that's out right now, I've got a few submissions that I need to send off. But enough about the future submissions. Let's talk about this submission. Before I get into it, I'll just sort of start by saying the grades aren't that great. So if that's enough to have you click off the video, no worries. But I do want to talk about the grades. I think about 30% of the submission came back, and looking at the cards, I totally agree with the grades, or I think it's fine to keep the card in the slab that it's in now. And then about 60%, give or take, I think they were graded a little too harshly, so I'm going to resubmit. But I'll talk a little bit about which cards I'm going to resubmit and what path I'm going to take, basically what I'm going to do about these misgrades, in my opinion. Of course, totally subjective. But before we get into those, I'll talk about the cards that I think returned in the slabs that make sense. First off here, I have a Septile, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of this Septile 11. This is probably the card that I've submitted the most of any card, and I'm obviously fishing for the 10, but it's a favorite card of mine. This 7, honestly looking now, it's pretty rough. This card makes sense to be in a 7. I'm just going to crack it out and throw it in my binder. But I submitted a bunch of these. I think I submitted 5 or 6 in this submission, hoping that some of the bad ones would just make the good ones look even better. But totally superstition on my part. This one totally deserves the 7. This next one, also a 7. This one though is a pretty strong 7 in my opinion. I think this is probably more like an 8 in a 7 slab. The back is really nice. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it because it's kind of a low grade card, but the hollow foil is really nice. Maybe some very minor scratches. I can't really see them. I'm looking. This foil is very prone to that though. Centering on the back's not perfect, but it's also not that bad, and there's not really a lot of whitening. I mean, there's like a factory nick there. A little bit of whitening from where the blades trim the corners. It's like very how do I say, it's very uniform. Like you'll see that same sort of damage from the factory over and over again, but it's extremely minor there in the bottom right. But 7 is a bit harsh for me, but again, even if this was an 8, I would just bust it out and throw it in the binder, so it's, result is the same. Next Septile got a 9. This Septile is a really nice 9. Again, I think this one is capped at a 9, so I'm not gonna move forward with this card in any way in pursuit of a 10. The reason it's capped at a 9 is it does have 2 factory nicks. I of course have seen 10s with factory nicks, even 2, but like that factory nick on the left is like more prominent than many, and it's more prominent than the one on the right. This one's also like relatively prominent. In my opinion, my subjective opinion, I feel like a 10 can have one of those, especially if it's pretty minor, and we're good to go. And I see that, every now and then on 10s, they'll either have nothing or just like one minor one. But if it has 2, that's pretty much just capping it at a 9, and that's how I feel about it too. So I don't feel like moving this guy around, and the hollow looks fantastic. Another one, PSA 9. Same deal. I think this card is fine in the case that it came in. Again, I didn't expect all these subtitles to send off to come back 10s. I just wanted to send my mintiest, my nicest ones, and hope that the nicest of those might have a shot at a 10. This one, there's a little bit of top-bottom centering issue, but I don't think that is really what keeps it from a 10. The back is actually really, really nice. There's a very minor factory nick, just the one. Just the one, and it's like one of those like dimple style where it's not really like a big cut into it or anything. The thing that I think is holding this from a 10 is there's a very minor hollow foil scratch in the top right corner, and I'm going to see if I can get that in the light. It's not going to be easy because it's pretty minor. There we go. You can kind of see it. Yeah, there you go. And that's as long as it is. It's not like a super long scratch. It's not really that focused. It's not a super long scratch or anything, but that to me, you know, however you feel about hollow foil scratches, one way or another, that really minor scratch doesn't really affect the eye appeal too much, but definitely caps it at a 9. So those are the subtiles. Now I have some Japanese cards here. I have a couple. Oh, these ones are a little bit more interesting, so I'll take a second to stop here and talk about it. So these cards, I sent off 6 Shining Darkness Charizard, 3 of each, unlimited and first edition. These 2 that came back 9s, this one in particular has something that I'm not sure if PSA damaged the card or not. And the reason I'm not sure is because it's not that minor, and I don't think I would have missed that. So there's like a bit of a, not like a chunk taken out, but you know, it got clipped. A little hip check there on the Charizard. And it's actually noticeable enough. There is some noticeable wear on the front from that collision or whatever happened there. Kind of hard for me to pick it up on camera, but basically, you know, there are levels of wear that I might miss, and I don't want to. Oh, my card got a 9, PSA damaged it, whatever. I don't want to say that. This isn't really something I would have missed. I wouldn't have sent this card to PSA at all, let alone a $30 tier. And I also think it's a little much for a 9. So to me, what I think happened is this card got graded a 9, maybe harshly, but you know, one way or another, the card was graded a 9, and they took a piece out of it during assembly. So I'm gonna contact PSA. I'm not sure what they would do for me. I mean, they didn't email me at assembly to let me know that the card was damaged. I don't know if they're gonna accept that I think they may have damaged it, but you know, we're just gonna experiment. We're gonna see what happens. It's not like I'm not super attached to this card, so it is what it is, but just figured that was interesting. I don't think PSA did anything to the rest of my cards. This one, another 9. This one has some, I think, edge wear. Oh no, it's not edge wear. It's at the top. There's like, again, let's play the game. Can I get it on camera? There's like a little, I'm sure you can see what I'm talking about. There's a little something there at the top right corner, like by the corner, I guess at the top edge. It's very minor. It is right lined up with where that, you know, the line in the PSA case is, but I'm not trying to say, it's not conclusive enough. I can't say that that's PSA that did that. I could have missed something like that. That's more feasible. I try to look for stuff like that, but it is possible that I missed it. But I agree that that's not a 10. That's a 9, and it's in the correct case. And then the last 2 did get 10s on them, so obviously I'm satisfied with that. These are in fantastic condition, no issues anywhere on the cards. 1 first edition and 1 limited. 1 first edition and 1 limited. So got both. Cool cards. I love the 3D art. That's like my favorite part of those early DP sets is the cool 3D art. Okay, now those are the ones I agree with. The PSA potential damage one, you know, notwithstanding. There are a couple other cards here in the submission that I don't agree with. So let's talk about those. These first ones I'm going to go with. I'm going to crack them out. So I haven't actually done any crack and resubmit before. I don't do a lot of resubmissions. These ones I am going to crack and resubmit, and I'll go into why. The first one is the English 3rd generation Bandai Blue Eyes White Dragon. This card got a 5, and I have no idea why. I looked all over. Can't seem to see any reason why it would have gotten a 5. But it did get a 5. And I'm just going to crack it out and send it to them and see what they think. I don't see an indentation. I don't really see anything wrong with this card. So I'm just gonna have to see. I'll crack it out and see. Next, sort of similar, I have this EX Dragon Secret Rare Charizard. This card got a PSA 7. The person I bought this from told me that they pulled it from a pack, put it in a case, and then put it in a screw down. A sleeve, and then put it in a screw down and left it there for 20 years. And I unscrewed the screw down, and I have to agree with them. The card is in really good condition. There is no whitening on the card, no edge wear, not even factory nicks that I can see. I mean, maybe that, but it's like one of the smaller possible factory nicks. Back's really nice. Centering is really nice. Maybe top to bottom is off like 5%, something tiny like that. I think there is a hollow foil scratch on the bottom right corner, but it is very minor, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get it up on the camera. It definitely does not affect eye appeal, and like I said, I don't think I can actually get that on camera. It's so minor. Yeah, it's not really showing up. It's very, very, very fine. There's no like chipping or anything on the front surface or the front edges and corners and things like that. I have no idea why this got a 7. I could see, there's a scratch, keep it from a 10. Cool. Why didn't this get an 8? Why didn't this get a 9? This is a really mint card. So I'm going to bust this out. Normally this card, a card of this caliber, I would not risk cracking it out of a plastic case because I'm very nervous about that kind of thing. But I don't think that this card will do well in graded card review because the 7. This 7 is just, it doesn't do the card justice, and it might just hold it back. So it's just too low of a grade for me to risk or to bother with spending $50 on graded card review. All right, some Japanese cards now. I got this Tyranitar EX. This card is pack fresh. Got a 9. The centering top to bottom is not perfect. If you couldn't tell, it's pretty hard to tell. It's maybe off like 5 or 10%, but I think this card is like within 10 range. So I'm gonna give it another shot. A 9 is a fine grade. It's not really a card for my PC, so I'm just gonna like roll the dice on it. And then I had a couple more Charizards. One first edition and one unlimited. These are in the same condition as the ones that got 10s. They're the same. Same source, pack fresh. Centering's pretty good. This one, the centering's not as good, but it's real. I mean, can you tell? It's pretty small. It's a pretty small error there, and no scratches, no whitening, no chips. They just didn't get 10s. So I'm gonna try again, crack them out, and then last but not least on the crack out stack here, I've got this Unleashed Tyranitar, and I pulled this right from a deck. Centering's really good. The corners came out really well. Anyone who knows HGSS, there's a lot of factory nicks, usually 2, often 3. It's just like the cardstock they were using was just not that good. This one has, I will say this one does have a speck of whitening on the edge, and I really hope that I just missed that and it wasn't like PSA did anything to it, because when I pulled this out of the deck, I was so happy because I was like, oh, I don't have to crack any more of these freaking decks, $100 a pop or whatever. I don't have to crack anymore because this one came out well. No indent from the coin. There's a coin right on the front, and they can get indented on the coin. No coin indent. Still just got an 8, so pretty brutal. Cheap card in an 8, so I'm just gonna bust it out and send it again. All right, those are the cracks. I'm gonna show the last stack here. These I'm going to most likely submit via graded card review. So if you've been paying attention to my little videos for the forum, you remember that I sent out, I think, a stack of 8 or 9 cards to PSA for graded card review. They were all PSA 9s. Almost all of them I graded myself. A couple of them I think I bought, and I think one of them I bought and it just came out really well, so I decided to try that one too. But most of them I graded myself, and I just thought they were 10 candidates and they should be reviewed. I'm still waiting. Those are in QA1 right now. Yeah, I hope in like the next couple weeks they'll come back. I'll get my grades for them, and I'll know if any of them are bumped. I knew they were in assembly for a while, so I'm hoping that at least one of them got bumped. If PSA proves that they're willing to receive a review or a graded card review submission and make some changes, then I will submit these as graded card review as well. If none of them get bumped, I will crack these out too. But I would prefer not to crack them because, like I said, I'm very nervous, and these cards are all like personal collection. Mint cards are hard to find. I'll go into it. Okay, so first one here, we have, this is first generation rather than third generation Blue Eyes, and this is the Japanese, obviously. Let's make the focus here. Yeah, first generation instead of third. Really nice card. It got an 8. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I deserve 9s and 10s on these cards. These Bandai cards are really, really hard to grade. They're peeled. They have very sensitive surfaces. I don't think this card is necessarily a 10. This is just one of the cleaner Bandai Blue Eyes that I've ever seen, and I think it deserves at least a 9. So that one's gonna go up, and it is a big jump in value. Like an 8's probably like $500, $600, and then the 9's over $1,000. So it's worth fishing with this one. All right, another one that's worth fishing. This Septile 11. This one I think is just the nicest one out of the batch that I sent. It's really, really nice. It doesn't have any discernible scratches on the holofoil. This holofoil, because it's something to do with like the background being kind of like this light purple smoggy color, something about it makes the holofoil kind of look bad, and I can see why that's kind of like keeping these cards hard to grade, but there just isn't any wear on the holofoil. It's pack fresh. It doesn't look like necessarily like every other holofoil from the set, so I can see why that might turn graders off. This is really, really nice. Definitely a 10 candidate in my opinion. No factory nicks. Just, this is, I mean, I have the other Septile, one of the other Septiles that's at graded card review right now, and this one are my 2 nicest ones. And I think they're reasonable cards to be put into 10 slabs. So I would like to try again. I need this card so bad. I'm probably not alone. Next up, Armaldo. This is the pre-release holofoil. I have the normal set from the deck and the pack holofoil in a PSA 9 and a PSA 10. I have the pre-release in a 10 already, and I need, or sorry, a 9 already, and I need the pre-release in a 10. Need this card. Love Armaldo. This card's perfect. So I'm not sure why I got a 9. And I hopefully PSA will see the error in their ways. This card's really beautiful. I love the holofoil. God, it looks so good. Anyway, enough about that. Let's see. Next, Flygon from EX Dragon. I was looking at my submission. I was looking back at my submissions, and I was like, why did I not just send this in bulk? Because it's not really a high value card in the same sense as the others. I mean, it's it's worth $300, $400 in a 10, which is awesome. It's a big card, especially for me. But I don't know why I didn't just send this in bulk. I think I must have looked at this card and said this is a 100% a 10, so I can't send it in bulk, because I'll just get upcharged or whatever. It'll be $400 and I'll just get upcharged. But didn't get a 10. I was wrong. Not 100%. Nothing is 100%. This is maybe the nicest card in the submission, at least English. I mean, those 2 10 Charizards are, those 2 new back 10s are pretty dang nice. But this card is unreal. Nothing on the back, nothing on the front. I don't know why I got a 9. This is the nicest 9 ever. God, it's beautiful. So I have this in a 10 already, but I would love a second one. I think you've probably heard me say, and if you've been watching my videos, you probably heard me say, I'm the type of person to stack 10s, cards I like. One is not enough. Not enough for me. Alright, another 9 here. Jirachi. I bought this card raw for like $45. It's really clean. It's really, really clean. You have a little bit more action on this card from the factory. Focus, please. Like, you can see what I'm showing you, even if it's not super focused. You can see. That's what we're talking about. That's what kept it from a 10. So, I don't agree that should take it from a 10. I buy 10s all the time, and they have that, and I think to myself, okay, it's a nice card, nice 10. At least it's not like damaged or anything. Just a little bit of factory nick. But PSA disagrees. Oh wow, my focus is kind of crazy here. There we go. All right, 2 more. EX Emerald, Reverse Holo, Deoxys. Card super clean. I sent a bunch of other Emerald Reverse Holos in my $18 sub. This one was just higher value, so I decided to send it in this sub. I thought for sure it was a 10, 100%. It has no factory nicks, which is very common in EX Emerald. The centering is not perfect. You can see left to right is not perfect. That's like something that plagues Emerald a lot, but in general, Emerald is very clean. I just want them to take another look at the eye peel here, and hopefully they agree with me. This is the kind of card that if I received this as a 10 from eBay, I would be thrilled. And then last but not least, one that I really, really want for my PC, Saito Groudon. Well, one of the 2 Saito Groudons from EX Emerald in reverse. I have the Kyogre, and I need the Groudon. These mint cards are not easy to find. This speaks to why I would graded card review these as opposed to cracking and resubmitting, because even though the risk is small of me cracking and damaging the card, finding these cards in truly packed fresh condition on eBay with no hollow foil scratches, no whitening on the back, none of this mint condition, all caps, and it's like, you know, it looks like a dog chewed on it. This is a truly mint card, truly packed fresh. You know, the value of that, you know, the market value for something like that is maybe like $50, $60. But to me, that doesn't really reflect the challenge behind getting a card like that. I'll just pull these out. It just doesn't really like reflect the true challenge of getting these English EX Holos in truly mint condition. You just can't really do it. Like if you go on eBay right now, you won't find any of these in truly mint condition for any price outside of a PSA slab. So I'm not really willing to risk damage them in removing them from a slab. I'd rather grade a card review. Now, like I said before, if PSA took my last 9 cards and said none of these are 10s, I will reconsider. But hopefully they give me at least a couple, and they'll have another batch of 6 coming. It'll cost $300, I think, to grade a card review all 6 of these. Put that one in too. And I think that's totally worth it. That's like the price of one of these in a 10. So if I get one, I'm like breaking even. Again, of course, I put a lot of money into these cards already, but it's already sunk, and I just need these for my personal collection. I'm willing to just go for it, and it's always more fun to grade the card yourself than just buy it. So, and you can't always buy these cards. Cool. That's it for my $30 sub. I have to say, I was pretty disappointed when I got the email from PSA and I didn't see really any 10s, and I have to say, like, after the highs of my last submissions from the $18 tiers going so well, I was really expecting a really good email from PSA, but it just goes to show that, like, you know, you gotta double check your cards, and also you never know what's gonna happen. It's totally subjective. You just gotta keep, if you know the cards are 10s, you just gotta keep pushing and get them through. So thanks so much for listening. I'll see you around.